The last time Jaguar offered a genuine sports car was so long ago, it was before I was born. In fact, the gap, or should I say chasm, between this car and the iconic E-Type is so big that I don't think my father even had his driver's license back then. So it's not without a little skepticism that I'm here to drive the British brand's latest and appropriately named F-Type model. Now, is this going to be the Porsche rivaling revival of Jaguar sports cars, or is it just another pretender to the throne? So where better to start than with the specs? Open the unique clamshell hood of this car, and the base engine you will find under there is a supercharged 3-liter V6, making 340 horsepower. Upgrade to the F-Type S and you get that same engine making 380 horsepower, or if you want, get 495 horsepower from a blown 8-cylinder V8S model. Despite rumors of a manual gearbox in the pipes, currently only one transmission is offered, an 8-speed automatic. 0 to 60 times, respectively, are 5.1 seconds, 4.8 seconds, and an awesome 4.2 seconds. As for the all-important price, it starts at a very reasonable, for this kind of sports car, $69,000, with S models at $81,000 and the V8S priced at $92,000. Jaguar's chief designer is a man by the name of Ian Callum. Now, that name probably rings a bell, and there's a reason for that, because he's built a career designing pieces of sheet metal that are this beautiful. When an automaker lands a world-class designer like Callum, they listen to him. Even the engineers have to. Bowing to his will to make this car as visually clean as possible, there are no door handles sticking out. They're hidden. There's also no dramatic spoiler sticking off the back. In the case of function following form, this car's wing raises from the tail automatically at 60 miles an hour. Designed to be equally as attractive with the top up and down, like all beautiful things, it is best viewed topless. An interesting way to distinguish the V6 from V8 models is to look at the exhaust pipes. You get 2 center exit exhausts on the V6, whereas the Big Daddy V8 gets quad exhaust pipes with 2 on either side. Other notable design features include what Jaguar calls its J-Blade LED daytime running lights, and you can see the shape right on the front of the car that makes a J. Now, in addition to that, if you look out at the back of the car, there's a really nice LED motif as well, and that's actually a design cue that's borrowed from the car's predecessor, the E-Type. Let's be honest, there really isn't going to be anything wrong with the interior of a car like this. However, there were 2 things I was really worried about with the new F-Type, and the interior was one of them. I'm a car snob, in particular an interior snob, and I'm sure anyone buying a vehicle like this probably is too. I'm happy to report then that some of the old style traits of previous Jaguars aren't here. For instance, that little rotary knob that rises up out of the center console to change the transmission gearing is finally gone. Sure, that was cool 10 years ago. And besides, using that little knob to change from gear to gear, it was about as smooth as drinking oatmeal through a straw. I'm also happy to report that there's really no chrome in this cockpit. Now, in addition to it being very old manish and old world Jaguar, it's also pretty blinding. And I've been blinded in a lot of big sedans by all the Jaguar chrome, and that's going to be extra bad in a convertible, so thankfully it's not here. Now, there really are a lot of cool other features of this vehicle I have to point out. The first one is this nice J-shaped grab handle right here, and it's really designed to sort of put the passenger over there and make sure that this is all about a driver and this is a driver's car. In addition, a lot of the really sporty bits inside this cabin are a cool anodized bronze color. I'm of course talking about the engine start stop, the paddle shifters, and of course you've got the nice little toggle switch here for the dynamic mode. And I can't forget one of the coolest features is when you do turn the car on, the two center vents actually rise up out of the dash and look like something out of a fighter jet. As for the telematics, they do look a little dated, but the center stack itself is modern and all the materials here look and feel top quality. Now, on cars equipped with the configurable dynamics program, it lets you adjust the engine response, the steering, the transmission, and even the suspension. There's even a lap timer and a G-meter. Now, is that just to convince you that this is a sports car even when it isn't? Well, that's what I'm here at Ridge Motorsports Park to find out. The XK may be a powerful two-door, but it's no sports car. This, however, really is. With a lightweight starting at right around 3,500 pounds, Jaguar said they really designed this car to be nimble and involving, and it's that too. Significantly smaller than any other Jaguar currently on sale, you also sit 20 millimeters lower than you do in even the XK RS, and that really means you just feel like you're connected to this vehicle. The hydraulic steering in this car is really great, and it's also really quick. Now, combine that with a short wheelbase, and you get a vehicle that just really wants to turn in. It's really maneuverable. The car's balance is also really remarkable. Now, part of the reason for that is that Jaguar actually went and put both the car's battery and the windshield wiper fluid in the trunk. Now, unfortunately, that also means there's not a whole lot of room for anything else back there. The F-Type is just awesomely fast, and it sounds outrageous. That's due in part to a sport exhaust system that comes standard on both the S and V8 S models. It's just really an amazing sounding machine. Now, the V6, for instance, sounds kind of like the Infiniti V6, which is actually a compliment, surprisingly, except with a bit more raspy popping to it. The V8, however, well, it just sounds absolutely nuts. And I'd say this car has officially been nominated for the best sounding car of the year. Earlier I mentioned two things I was worried about with this car. The second one is the fact that, well, it only comes with an automatic transmission. I am, however, seriously impressed with this unit. It's an 8-speed unit that's made by ZF, and it's actually appeared in quite a few other vehicles, but I swear this is the best version of it ever. On the street, it really changes gears freely, just jumping up and down no matter what. It's really responsive. The paddle shifters work almost instantaneously, and perhaps even better than that, you can just mash your foot down, especially in the sport mode, and it'll do it all for you. It really does a great job at reading what you want out of this car. You know, the automatic transmission was the one thing I was convinced was going to kill this vehicle and make it not be a great sports car. And well, sure, I'd love to drive it with a stick. It is really spectacular just the way it is. In an all-out performance test versus a Porsche 911, well, I'm not quite sure the F-Type would come out on top. That automatic transmission is impressive, but it's not quite PDK perfection. So should you buy an F-Type over a Porsche? Well, if you're looking at a 911 Cabriolet, then I say, of course, it sounds awesome and it looks about 1,000 times better. 50 years out of the game, and the Jaguar sports car is back. For more on this review and others like it, visit autoguide.com.